Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career multidisciplinary artist known as Lord. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at this rather dangerous color on display. We're also going to explore what it means to break down and cry. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, we're struck by the immense vibrance of the work at hand here. We see this flared orange and this toxic yellow, both of which add a sense of weight which goes beyond words. One of the first things I noticed when I looked at this piece is the impact of space or the utilization of space. We see this quite clearly. You have these, intersecting blocked lines, both of which frame our subject there. And colors within this composition are very indicative of the symbolism at hand. Like I said, you have this orange, which appears to threaten to flare and burn. Meanwhile, we have this greenish yellow, which almost gasses like a noxious haze. Of course, it creates a very toxic visual experience, and that vibrance just invigorates a scene with a ton of visual energy. You're not going to miss that. So the next thing I noticed is this barren tree far beyond in the background there. We see how it has these barren branches which give a sense of decay and even desperation to the work at hand here. I think that's incredibly important. We'll go a bit deeper in the title here in a second to truly reveal that. Another thing I noticed is the impact of texture within this work. We see this quite clearly, right? You have this really like a glitch effect, right? It gives the sense of the distorted or the despaired or even the desperate, if you will. And I think that's incredibly important here. With this in mind, how does that make you feel? Or overall, how do you feel when you look at this composition? I think that's an incredibly important question. And so we see this lone subject on the left side of the composition here. It certainly draws the eye. You'll notice, of course, that kind of red form pops out instantly, especially at the intersection of two different parts or regions of the composition here. And our subject's posture, the crouch or being on your knees there is no doubt that it conveys a sense of negativity or a sense of grief here, almost as if he's in submission to the overwhelming emotion at play. And so with that in mind, the title of this work is A Beautiful Place to Cry. And so we ask ourselves, what exactly is happening here that truly reveals it instantly? Our lone subject is on their knees, taking a moment to cry within this extremely simple and minimalist setting here. It's even surreal or dreamlike as well, but there's so many different colors clashing within that, right? And with the act of crying comes a cathartic release, right? There is a sense of emotion that is just released from that, and there's that sense of release which is incredibly important, right? That is indicative of why we cry. We often do so due to overwhelming negativity or overwhelming negative emotion, and so we see that, right? You kind of give in to that and you have that cathartic release and you just take a moment for yourself. So with this in mind, when we must, let us take a moment and then move. So this was a stunning and profound scene. I think there's no doubt about that. I actually have an additional work from that artist, so I'm going to bring that in real quick and see what we can learn, especially in comparison to the scene at hand. Alright, so about another piece here from the original artist Lord, and we see quite a distinct difference in both of these works. Of course, the work on the right is a lot darker in color and vibrance. We compare that to the work on the left. It's just invigorated. It is possessed by that visual energy, especially due to that fluorescent orange and that kind of toxic yellow, if you will. And these scenes really give a pretty unique connection, right? So on the right, we have the work entitled Reflecting on My Past Mistakes. And then on the left, of course, we have today's piece, which is A Beautiful Place to Cry. And so when we compare that, right, our lone subjects say, let's start here. The lone subjects makes their mistakes known and even, kind of succumbs to that sense of emotion. Then we compare that to the work on the right. The lone subject is reflecting on the past mistakes, right? There is this sense of giving in on this composition, while this is kind of reflecting on that so you may move on. I think that's incredibly important, and there's no doubt we have the artist style in both of these instances, right? And so both of these works were created with the digital rendering program known as Cinema 4D, yet even then the artist still leaves room for this incredibly iconic style. I think that's incredibly important as well. So there is no doubt that both of these works deal with profound themes, and of course a sense of negativity overwhelming in one, and a sense of the reflection and moving on in another. I think that's just absolutely important here. So yeah, like I said, the work before us is a digital render, so was created with the digital rendering program known as Cinema 4D with some additional edits in Adobe Photoshop. So an incredibly profound and incredibly unique result as well. So I really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things from our subject's posture to the sense of texture, the glitch within the composition, the impact of this, toxic and flared color palette. So many different important things we hit on today. I truly hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, make sure to check out the original artist Lord, doing some amazing stuff in multiple different mediums, and of course, a pro in the world of 3D art. So like I said, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. And if y'all did, go check out the original artist. My name is Apollo, this was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.